Hello, it's me, the tiny slug under your kitchen board. Today, we read and we learn. I'm going to turn this music down just a little bit, just so it's not like overpowering. Maybe a little more. Hello, hi Lolly, hi Doodle. How are you guys? Okay, should be fine. Hi Carol. Hello. Today we're just gonna be reading for a bit and then maybe chat at the end. I'm not gonna be doing anything like huge today. So I hope that's alright. I've got some tea because I know my throat is gonna get sore again like last time. Last time after I stopped the stream, it was like very sore in the morning after I woke up. Pretty not good. But how's everyone doing before we get started? How's everyone? How was your day? What happened? Anything cool? I got scolded for not cleaning the hall, even though I cleaned it yesterday. And apparently they called my landlords today and they're like, she didn't clean it. And I told them that's not true. I did. So that upset me. Doing alright, having an early dinner. What are you having? I had dinner like 3 hours ago. Slept for 16 hours? Oh my god, Lolly. Jesus Christ, when did you wake up? Have lasagne? Lasagne. The only lasagne I've ever had was like a very cheap, like frozen kind. I'm having Vietnamese crab tomato soup. Ooh, I have no idea what that could taste like. I've never really had crab. So I don't know. I didn't feel like doing much, so just stayed in bed. Woke up 3 hours ago. Jesus Christ, Lolly. 3 hours ago. That's not good. That was 7 p.m. for you. But you need to get that shit in order. Tastes like heaven, that's all you need to know. Okay, I'll believe you. I'll believe you. This piano is overpowering me. There, be quiet. I woke up pretty early, not early, pretty late today too though. So I guess I can't judge you too much. But okay, again, same rules as last time. I won't be reading chat as much, just so I can focus on reading the book. And then once we're done with the book, we'll see. We'll see what next. Definitely not gonna play any games today. So maybe just like some chatting at the end, but again, we'll see. Expect a shorter stream today, because I don't know how long it's going to take to read. I'm not actually sure how long it took last time, but last time we did like 50, 54 or 53 pages. And today, let me actually look. Today, okay, last time it took like 2 hours, so maybe it would be like a 2-hour stream then. Should be fine. Oh, where I am. Going for comf story time. Alright, got my tea here. Put a little bit of lemon in it, because that's very good for your throat. Oh, let me... I kind of want to keep the bag in though. Here, I'll just wrap it around. Okay. Alright, I think I'm ready. The piano should be very faint, hopefully, so it doesn't make too much noise. And let's do it. Yonk. Okay. Alright, let's go. Chapter 7. A mat tea party. There was a table set out under a tree in front of the house, and the March hare and the hare were having tea at it. A dormouse was sitting between them, fast asleep, and the other two were using it as a cushion, resting their elbows on it and talking over its head. Very uncomfortable for the dormouse, thought Alice. Only as it's asleep, I suppose it doesn't mind. The table was a large one, but the three were all crowded together at one corner of it. No room, no room, they cried out when they saw Alice coming. There's plenty of room, said Alice indignantly, and she sat down in a large armchair at one of the tables. Have some wine, the March Hare said in an encouraging tone. Alice looked all around the table, but there was nothing on it but tea. I don't see any wine, she remarked. There isn't any, said the March Hare. Then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it, said Alice angrily. It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited, said the March Hare. I didn't know it was your table, said Alice. It's late for a great many more than 3. Your hair wants cutting, said the Hatter. He had been looking at Alice for some time with great curiosity, and this was his first speech. You should learn not to make personal remarks, Alice said with some severity. It's very rude. The Hatter opened his eyes very wide on hearing this, but all he said was, Why is a raven like a writing desk? Come, shall we have some fun now? Thought Alice. I'm glad they've begun asking riddles. I believe I can guess that, she added aloud. Oh, hi, Fates. Doing okay. Doing some reading. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Do you mean that you think you can find out the answer to it? Said the March Hare. Exactly so, said Alice. Then you should say what you mean, the March Hare went on. I do, Alice hastily replied. At least I mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know. Not the same thing a bit, said the Hatter. Why, you might just as well say that I see what I eat is the same thing as I eat what I see. You might just as well say, added the March Hare, that I like what I get is the same thing as I get what I like. You might just as well say, added the Dormouse, who seemed to be talking in his sleep, that I breathe when I sleep is the same thing as I sleep when I breathe. It is the same thing with you, said the Hatter, and here the conversation dropped, and the party sat silent for a minute, while Alice thought over all she could remember about ravens and writing desks, which wasn't much. The Hatter was the first to break the silence. What day of the month is it? He said, turning to Alice. He had taken his watch out of his pocket and was looking at it uneasily, shaking it every now and then and holding it to his ear. Alice considered a little and said, The 4th. 2 days wrong, sighed the Hatter. I told you butter wouldn't suit the works, he added, looking angrily at the March Hare. It was the best butter, the March Hare meekly replied. Yes, but some crumbs must have got in as well, the Hatter grumbled. You shouldn't have put it in with the bread knife. The March Hare took the watch and looked at it gloomily. Then he dipped it into his cup of tea and looked at it again, but he could think of nothing better to say than his first remark. It was the best butter, you know. Alice had been looking over his shoulder with some curiosity. What a funny watch, she remarked. It tells the day of the month and doesn't tell what o'clock it is. Why should it? Muttered the Hare. Does your watch tell you what year it is? Of course not, Alice replied readily. But that's because it says the same year for such a long time together. Which is just the case with mine, said the Hatter. Alice felt dreadfully puzzled. The Hatter's remark seemed to her to have no sort of meaning in it, and yet it was certainly English. I don't quite understand you, she said, as politely as she could. The Dormouse is asleep again, said the Hatter, and he poured a little hot tea onto its nose. The Dormouse shook its head impatiently and said, without opening its eyes, Of course, just what I was going to remark myself. Have you guessed the riddle yet? The Hatter said, turning to Alice again. No, I give up, Alice replied. What's the answer? I haven't the slightest idea, said the Hatter. Nor I, said the March Hare. Alice sighed wearily. I think you might do something better with the time, she said, than waste it in asking riddles that have no answers. If you knew time as well as I do, said the Hatter, you shouldn't talk about wasting it. It's him. I don't know what you mean, said Alice. Of course you don't, the Hatter said, tossing his head contemptuously. I dare say you never even spoke to time. Perhaps not, Alice cautiously replied, but I know I have to beat time when I learn music. Ah, that accounts for it, said the Hatter. You won't stand beating. Now if you only kept on good terms with him, he'd do almost anything you liked with the clock. For instance, suppose it were 9 o'clock in the morning. Just time to begin lessons. You'd only have to whisper a hint to time, and round goes the clock in a twinkling. 1:30, time for dinner. I only wish it was, the March Hare said to itself in a whisper. That would be grand, certainly, said Alice thoughtfully. But then I shouldn't be hungry for it, you know. Not at first, perhaps, said the Hatter. But you could keep it to 1:30 as long as you liked. Is that the way you manage? Alice asked. The Hatter shook his head mournfully. Not I, he replied. We quarrelled last March, just before he went mad, you know, pointing with his teaspoon at the March Hare. It was at the great concert given by the Queen of Hearts, and I had to sing, Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder where you're at. Know the song, perhaps? I've heard something like it, said Alice. It goes, you know, the Hatter continued in its way. Up above the world you fly, like a tea tray in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle. Here the dormouse shook itself and began singing in its sleep. Twinkle, 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 twinkle. And went on so long that they had to pinch it to make it stop. Well, I'd hardly finished the first verse, said the Hatter, when the Queen bawled out, He's measuring the time! Off with his head! How dreadfully savage! Exclaimed Alice. And ever since that, the Hatter went on in a mournful tone, you won't do a thing I ask. It's always 6 o'clock now. A bright idea came into Alice's head. Is that the reason so many tea things are put out here? She asked. Yes, that's it, said the Hatter with a sigh. It's always tea time, and we've got no time to wash the things between whiles. Then you keep moving round, I suppose, said Alice. Exactly so, said the Hatter, as the things get used up. But when you come to the beginning again, Alice ventured to ask. Suppose we change the subject, the March Hare interrupted, yawning. I'm getting quite tired of this. I vote the young lady tells us a story. I'm afraid I don't know one, said Alice, rather alarmed at the proposal. Then the Dormouse shall, they both cried. Wake up, Dormouse! And they pinched it on both sides at once. The Dormouse slowly opened his eyes. I wasn't asleep, he said in a hoarse, feeble voice. I heard every word you fellows were saying. Tell us a story, said the March Hare. Yes, please, do, pleaded Alice. And be quick about it, added the Hatter, or you'll be asleep again before it's done. Once upon a time, there were 3 little sisters. The Dormouse began in a great hurry. Their names were Elsie, Lacey, and Tilly, and they lived at the bottom of a well. What did they live on? Said Alice, who always took a great interest in questions of eating and drinking. They lived in a treacle, said the Dormouse, after thinking a minute or two. They couldn't have done that, you know, Alice gently remarked. They'd have been ill. So they were, said the Dormouse, very ill. Alice tried a little too fancy to herself what such an extraordinary way of living would be like, but it puzzled her too much, so she went on. But why did they live at the bottom of a well? Take some more tea, the March Hare said to Alice very earnestly. I've had nothing yet, Alice replied in an offended tone, so I can't take more. You mean you can't take less, said the Hatter. It's very easy to take more than nothing. Nobody asked your opinion, said Alice. Who's making personal remarks now? The Hatter asked triumphantly. Alice did not quite know what to say to this, so she helped herself to some tea and bread and butter, and then turned to the Dormouse and repeated her question. Why did they live at the bottom of a well? The Dormouse again took a minute or two to think about it, and then said, It was a treacle well. There's no such thing! Alice was beginning very angrily, but the Hatter and the March Hare went shh, shh, and the Dormouse sulkily remarked, "If you can't be civil, you'd better finish the story for yourself." "No, please go on," Alice said very humbly. "I won't interrupt again. I dare say there may be one." "One indeed," said the Dormouse indignantly. "However, you consented to go on. And so, these three little sisters, they were learning to draw, you know." "What did they draw?" said Alice, quite forgetting her promise. This is really comfy indeed. Comfy reading time. Music is also very nice, so calm and relaxing. I hope so. I didn't want it to just be like quiet, you know. 720p, audio only mode time. Good thing this is a reading stream. Hi CZ. Yeah, I wish I could change the thing so you could change the resolution, but sadly it's randomized. But alright. Triacle, said the Dormouse without considering all this time. "I want a clean cup," interrupted the Hatter. "Let's all move one place on." He moved on as he spoke, and the Dormouse followed him. The March Hare moved into the Dormouse's place, and Alice rather unwillingly took the place of the March Hare. The Hatter was the only one who got any advantage from the change, and Alice was a good deal worse off than before, as the March Hare had just upset the milk jug into his plate. Alice did not wish to offend the Dormouse again, so she began very cautiously. "But I don't understand. Where did they draw the triacle from? You can't draw water out of a water well." "Oh my fucking god."
Reading streams a pog.
Holy shit. That scared the shit out of me. Holy fuck. Thank you, CZ, for the donation. I need to calm that down. Thank you. Next time I read, I need to quiet that. But thank you. Jesus Christ. Okay. Continuing. I don't even know where I was. Hair dies from shock. Bunnies can actually die from being scared or stress. I'm not sure about hares, but I think they do too. They just fucking die. I accidentally killed a hare. Good. But thank you. Okay, okay. "You can draw water out of a water well," said the Hatter. "So I should think you could draw triacle out of a triacle well, eh, stupid?" "They were in the well," Alice said to the Dormouse, not choosing to notice this last remark. "Of course they were," said the Dormouse. "Well, in..." This answer so confused poor Alice that she let the Dormouse go on for some time without interrupting it. "They were learning to draw," the Dormouse went on, yawning and rubbing its eyes, for it was getting very sleepy. "And they drew all manner of things, everything that begins with an M." "Why with an M?" said Alice. "Why not?" said the March Hare. Alice was silent. Dormouse had closed its eyes by this time and was going off into a doze, but on being pinched by the Hatter, it woke up again with a little shriek and went on. "That begins with an M, such as most traps, and the moon, and memory, and muchness. You know, you say things are much of a muchness. Did you ever see a thing as a drawing of a muchness?" "Really? Now you ask me?" said Alice, very much confused. "I don't think... then you shouldn't." Thank you so much, CZ, for the gifted subs. Thank you so much. Also, fun fact, with these, I think we unlocked the next emote slot. we were 2 off when I began the stream, so I think thanks to everyone and thanks to CZ just now, we have the new emote to make. Thank you. 5 emote slots, yes! I'm not sure if it's a sub, if it's a tier 1 emote, or if it's a I think it's a tier 1, yeah. It has to be tier 1. But we will make that. I think I don't even remember. I don't know which one I should do. Like a sad one maybe? Because I have a lot of happy ones, but I don't have any like sad or angry. So I'm thinking maybe like a sad one or an angry one maybe. I'll probably do a poll again. But thank you. Or let me know which one would you like. Let me know and I'll look at it and then I'll do a poll. I just want like a good range of emotions for the tier ones so everyone can use them. Okay, where were we? Oh, then you shouldn't talk, said the Hatter. This piece of rudeness was more than Alice could bear. She got up in great disgust and walked off. The Dormouse fell asleep instantly, and neither of the others took the least notice of her going, though she looked back once or twice, half hoping that they would call after her. The last time she saw them, they were trying to put the Dormouse into the teapot. Mouse in a pot, my cousin. At any rate, I'll never go there again, said Alice as she picked her way through the wood. It's the stupidest tea party I ever was at in my life. Just as she said this, she noticed that one of the trees had a door leading right into it. That's very curious, she thought, but everything's curious today. I think I may as well go in at once. And in she went. Once more, she found herself in the long hall and close to the little glass table. Now, I'll manage better this time, she said to herself, and began by taking the little golden key and unlocking the door that led into the garden. Then she went to work nibbling at the mushroom. She had kept a piece of it in her pocket, till she was about a foot high. Then she walked down the little passage, and then she found herself at last in the beautiful garden among the bright flower beds and cool fountains. Oh, time to drink. But yeah, I'm thinking like maybe an angry or a sad emote would be the best. Do you think? Because I'm not sure what else would be good for tier 1, because there's like the silly ones and whatnot, right? But I don't know, I don't think the silly ones are like super important. So feels good. Angry or sad might be good. That's what I'm thinking, but like, which one's better? You know? Sad or angry? Which one's more useful? I'll do a poll probably, because I wanna make sure everyone can get their vote in. Probably sad. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll do a poll. Yes. Okay. Ooh. Okay, wait, one more sip. This tea is so good. Alright, Chapter 8. The Queen's Croquet Ground. A large rose tree stood near the entrance of the garden. The roses growing on it were white, but there were 3 gardeners at it, busily painting them red. Alice thought this a very curious thing, and she went nearer to watch them. And just as she came up to them, she heard one of them say, "Look out now, 5. Don't go splashing paint over me like that." "I couldn't help it," said 5 in a sulky tone. "7 shocked my elbow." On which 7 looked up and said, "That's right, 5. Always lay the blame on others." "You'd better not talk," said 5. "I heard the Queen say only yesterday you deserved to be beheaded." "What for?" said the one who had spoken first. "That's none of your business, too," said 7. "Yes, it is his business," said 5. "And I'll tell him. It was for bringing the cook tulip roots instead of onions." 7 flung down his brush and had just begun, full of all the unjust things, when his eye chanced to fall upon Alice as she stood watching them, and he checked himself suddenly. The others looked around also, and all of them bowed low. Would you tell me, please, said Alice, a little timidly, why you are painting those roses? 5 and 7 said nothing, but looked at 2. 2 began in a low voice. Why, the fact is, you see, miss, this here ought to have been a red rose tree, and he put a white one in by mistake, and if the queen was to find it out, we should all have our heads cut off, no? So, you see, miss, we're doing our best before she comes to... At this moment, 5, who had been anxiously looking across the garden, called out, "The queen! The queen!" And all 3 gardeners instantly threw themselves flat upon their faces. There was a sound of many footsteps, and Alice looked round, eager to see the queen. First came 10 soldiers carrying clubs. These were all shaped like the 3 gardeners, oblong and flat, with their hands and feet at the corners. Next, the 10 courtiers. Courtiers? These were ornamented all over with diamonds and walked 2 and 2, as the soldiers did. After these came the royal children. There were 10 of them, and the little dears came jumping merrily along hand in hand in couples. They were all ornamented with hearts. Next came the guests, mostly kings and queens, and among them Alice recognized the white rabbit. It was talking in a hurried, nervous manner, smiling at everything that was said, and went by without noticing her, and followed the knave of hearts, carrying the king's crown on a crimson velvet cushion. And last of all this grand procession came the king and queen of hearts. Alice was rather doubtful whether she ought not to lie down on her face like the 3 gardeners, but she could not remember ever having heard of such a rule at processions. And besides, what would be the use of a procession, she thought, if people had all to lie down on their faces so that they couldn't see it? She stood where she was and waited. When the procession came opposite to Alice, they all stopped and looked at her, and the queen said severely, "Who is this?" She said it to the knave of hearts, who only bowed and smiled in reply. "Idiot," said the queen, tossing her head impatiently, and turning to Alice, she went on, "What's your name, child?" "My name is Alice, so please your majesty," said Alice very politely, but she added to herself, "Why, they're only a pack of cards after all. I needn't be afraid of them." "And who are these?" said the queen, pointing to the 3 gardeners who were lying round the rose tree, for you see, as they were lying on their faces and the pattern on their backs was the same as the rest of the pack, she could not tell whether they were gardeners or soldiers or courtiers or 3 of her own children. "How should I know?" said Alice, surprised at her own courage. "It's no business of mine." The queen turned crimson with fury, and after glaring at her for a moment like a wild beast, began screaming, "Off with her head! Off! Nonsense!" said Alice, very loudly and decidedly, and the queen was silent. The king laid his hand upon her arm, and timidly said, "Consider, my dear, she is only a child." The queen turned angrily away from him, and said to the knave, "Turn them over." The knave did so, very carefully, with one foot. "Get up," said the queen in a shrill, loud voice, and the 3 gardeners instantly jumped up and began bowing to the king, the queen, the royal children, and everybody else. "Leave off that," screamed the queen. "You make me giddy." And then, turning to the rose tree, she went, "What have you been doing here?" "May it please your majesty," said 2 in a very humble tone, going down on one knee as he spoke. "We were trying—" "I see," said the queen, who had meanwhile been examining the roses. "Off with their heads!" And the procession moved on, 3 of the soldiers remaining behind to execute the unfortunate gardeners, who ran to Alice for protection. "You shan't be beheaded," said Alice, and she put them into a large flower pot that stood near. The 3 soldiers wandered about for a minute or 2, looking for them, and then quietly marched off after the others. "Are their heads off?" shouted the queen. "Their heads are gone, if it please your majesty." The soldiers shouted in reply. "That's right," shouted the queen. "Can you play croquet?" The The soldiers were silent and looked at Alice, as the question was evidently meant for her. "Yes," shouted Alice. "Come on then," roared the Queen, and Alice joined the procession, wondering very much what would happen next. It's a very fine day," said a timid voice at her side. She was walking by the White Rabbit, who was peeping anxiously into her face. "Very," said Alice. "Where's the Duchess?" "Hush, hush," said the rabbit in a low, hurried tone. He looked anxiously over his shoulder as he spoke, and then raised himself upon tiptoe, put his mouth close to her ear, and whispered, "She's under sentence of execution." "What for?" said Alice. "Did you say, 'What pity?'" Rabbit asked. "No, I didn't," said Alice. "I don't think it's at all a pity. I said, 'What for?'" "She boxed the Queen's ears," the rabbit began. Alice gave a little scream of laughter. "Oh, hush," the rabbit whispered in a frightened tone. "The Queen will hear you. You see, she came rather late, and the Queen said—" "Get to your places," shouted the Queen in a voice of thunder, and people began running about in all directions, tumbling up against each other. However, they got settled down in a minute or two, and the game began. Alice thought she had never seen... Where am I? Sorry. Alice thought she had never seen such a curious croquet ground in her life. It was all ridges and furrows. The croquet balls were live hedgehogs, the mallets live flamingos, and the soldiers had to double themselves up and to stand on their hands and feet to make the arches. The chief difficulty Alice found at first was in managing her flamingo. She succeeded in getting its body tucked away comfortably enough under her arm, with its legs hanging down, but generally, just as she had got its neck nicely straightened out, and was going to give the hedgehog a blow with its head, it would twist itself round and look up into her face, with such a puzzled expression. Puzzled? He looks pissed as fuck! Look at him! He doesn't look puzzled at all, he just looks angry. Oh man, let me drink to that. Okay, continuing. Puzzled expression that she could not help bursting out laughing, and when she had got its head down and was going to begin again, it was very provoking. Gonna attack Alice for picking it up and swinging him around. I'd attack her if she did that to me. And when she had got its head down and was going to begin again, it was very provoking to find that the hedgehog had unrolled itself and was in the act of crawling away. Besides all this, there was generally a ridge or furrow in the way wherever she wanted to send the hedgehog to, and as the doubled up soldiers were getting up and walking off to other parts of the ground, Alice soon came to the conclusion that it was a very difficult game indeed. The players all played at once without waiting for turns, quarreling all the while, and fighting for the hedgehogs, and in a very short time the Queen was in a furious passion, and went stamping about and shouting, "Off with his head," or "Off with her head," once in a minute. Alice began to feel very uneasy. To be sure, she had not as yet had any dispute with the Queen, but she knew that it might happen any minute. And then, thought she, what would become of me? They're dreadfully fond of beheading people here. The great wonder is that there's any one left alive. She was looking about for some way of escape and wondering whether she could get away with being seen, when she noticed a curious appearance in the air. It puzzled her very much at first, but after watching it a minute or two, she made it out to be a grin. She said to herself, "It's the Cheshire Cat. Now I shall have somebody to talk to." "How are you getting on?" said the cat, as soon as there was mouth enough for it to speak with. Alice waited till the eyes appeared, and then nodded. "It's no use speaking to it," she thought, "till its ears have come, or at least one of them." In another minute the whole head appeared, and then Alice put down her flamingo and began an account of the game, feeling very glad she had someone to listen to her. The cat seemed to think that there was enough of it now in sight, and no more of it appeared. "I don't think they play at all fairly," Alice began, in rather a complaining tone, and they all quarrel so dreadfully one can't hear oneself speak, and they don't seem to have any rules in particular. At least, if there are, nobody attends to them, and you've no idea how confusing it is, all the things being alive. For instance, there's the arch I've got to go through next, walking about at the other end of the ground, and I should have croqueted the queen's hedgehog just now, only it ran away when it saw mine coming. How do you like the queen? Said the cat in a low voice. Not at all, said Alice. She's so extremely... Just then she noticed that the queen was close behind her, listening. So she went on, likely to win, that it's hardly worthwhile finishing the game. The queen smiled and passed on. Who are you talking to? Said the king, coming up to Alice and looking at the cat's head with great curiosity. It's a friend of mine, a Cheshire cat, said Alice. Allow me to introduce it. I don't like the look of it at all, said the king. However, it may kiss my hand if it likes. I'd rather not, the cat remarked. Don't be impertinent, said the king, and don't look at me like that. Got behind Alice as he spoke. A cat may look at a king, said Alice. I've read that in some book, but I don't remember where. Well, it must be removed, said the king very decidedly, and he called the queen, who was passing at the moment. My dear, I wish you would have this cat removed. The queen had only one way of settling all difficulties, great or small. Off with his head, she said without even looking round. I'll fetch the executioner myself, said the king eagerly, and he hurried off. Alice thought she might as well go back and see how the game was going on, as she heard the queen's voice in the distance, screaming with passion. She had already heard her sentence three of the players to be executed for having missed their turns, and she did not like the look of things at all, as the game was in such confusion that she never knew whether it was her turn or not. So she went off in search of her hedgehog. The hedgehog was engaged in a fight with another hedgehog, which seemed to Alice an excellent opportunity for croqueting one of them with the other. The only difficulty was that her flamingo was gone across to the other side of the garden, where Alice could see it trying in a helpless sort of way to fly up into a tree. By the time she had caught the flamingo and brought it back, the fight was over and both the hedgehogs were out of sight. But it doesn't matter much, thought Alice, as all the arches are gone from the sight of the ground. So she tucked it away under her arm that it might not escape again, and went back to have a little more conversation with her friend. When she got back to the Cheshire cat, she was surprised to find quite a large crowd collected around it. There was a dispute going on between the executioner, the king, and the queen, who were all talking at once, while all the rest were quite silent and looked very uncomfortable. The moment Alice appeared, she was appealed to by all three to settle the question, and they repeated their arguments to her. Though, as they all spoke at once, she found it very hard to make out exactly what they said. The executioner's argument was that you couldn't cut off a head unless there was a body to cut it off from, but he had never had to do such a thing before, and he wasn't going to begin at his time of life. Oh my. The king's argument was that anything that had a head could be beheaded, and that you weren't to talk nonsense. The queen's argument was that if something wasn't done about it in less than no time, she'd have everybody executed all around. It was this last remark that had made the whole party look so grave and anxious. Alice could think of nothing else to say but, "It belongs to the Duchess. You'd better ask her about it." "She's in prison," the queen said to the executioner. "Fetch her here." And the executioner went off like an arrow. The cat's head began fading away the moment he was gone. By the time he had come back with the Duchess, it had entirely disappeared. The king and the executioner ran wildly up and down looking for it, while the rest of the party went back to the game. Okay, here we are. Next chapter, delicious tea. Ooh. Never knew how weird the original book was. I never read it. And it's stranger to read it than to see it, honestly, because I've seen the movie, right? But this is the first time reading it, and there's more weird shit, I think, in the book. Glad to know the Disney movie wasn't exaggerating at all. Yeah, it was actually tamer. It was more tame than the book, which is very weird, but you know, they needed to cut time, so that's okay. Okay, so we're 20 pages in, more or less, a little less than 20. And we've got 30 more. So yeah, so it should take like another hour, I think, to read everything. Alright. I think we're on a good time. Alright. Chapter 9. The Mock Turtle Story. You can't think of how glad I am to see you again, you dear old thing, said the Duchess as she tucked her arm affectionately into Alice's, and they walked off together. Alice was very glad to find her in such a pleasant temper, and thought to herself that perhaps it was only the pepper that had made her so savage when they met in the kitchen. When I'm a duchess, she said to herself, not in a very hopeful tone though, I won't have any pepper in my kitchen at all. Soup does very well without. Maybe it's always pepper that makes people hot-tempered, she went on, very much pleased at having found out a new kind of rule. And vinegar that makes them sour, and chamomile that makes them bitter, and barley sugar, and such things that make children sweet-tempered. I only wish people knew that. Then they wouldn't be so stingy about it, you know. She'd quite forgotten the Duchess by this time, and was a little startled when she heard her voice close to her ear. You're thinking about something, my dear, and that makes you forget to talk. I can't tell you just what the moral of that is, but I shall remember it in a bit. Perhaps it hasn't one, Alice ventured to remark. Toot, child, said the Duchess. Everything's got a moral, if only you can find it. And she squeezed herself up closer to Alice's side as she spoke. Oh my god. That is not what I imagined her like at all. Jesus. Alice did not much like keeping so close to her. At first, because the Duchess was very ugly. And secondly, I am fearful, me too. And secondly, because she was exactly the right height to rest her chin upon Alice's shoulder, and it was an uncomfortably sharp chin. However, she did not like to be rude, so she bore it as well as she could. The game is going on rather better now, she said, by way of keeping up the conversation a little. 'Tis so, said the Duchess, and the moral of that is, oh, 'tis love, that makes the world go round. Somebody said, Alice whispered, that it's done by everybody minding their own business. Ah, well, it means much the same thing, said the Duchess, digging her sharp little chin into Alice's shoulder. As she added, the moral of that is, take care of the sense, and the sounds will take care of themselves. How fond she is of finding morals in things, Alice thought to herself. Hi, Anita. Favorite hair and my favorite ugly Duchess. Did you call for me? No, Cece. Not yet. But hello. I am sure you're way prettier. Yeah. Yeah. Digging her sharp little chin into Alice's shoulder as she added, and the moral of that is, take care of the sense and the sounds will take care of themselves. How fond she is of finding morals in things, Alice thought to herself. I dare say you're wondering why I don't put my arm around your waist, said the Duchess, after a pause. The reason is that I'm doubtful about the temper of your flamingo. Shall I try to experiment? He might bite, Alice cautiously replied, not feeling at all anxious to have the experiment tried. Very true, said the Duchess. Flamingos and mustard both bite, and the moral of that is, birds of a feather flock together. Only mustard isn't a bird, Alice remarked. Right as usual, said the Duchess. What a clear way you have of putting things. It's a mineral, I think, said Alice. Of course it is, said the Duchess, who seemed ready to agree to everything that Alice said. There's a large mustard mine near here. The moral of that is, the more there is of mine, the less there is of yours. Oh, I know, exclaimed Alice, who had not attended to this last remark. It's a vegetable. It doesn't look like one, but it is. I quite agree with you, said the Duchess. And the moral of that is, be what you would seem to be, or, if you'd like it put more simply, never imagine yourself not to be otherwise what it might appear to others, that what you were or might have been was not otherwise that what you had been would have appeared to them to be otherwise. I think I should understand that better, Alice said very politely, if I had it written down, but I can't quite follow it as you say it. There's nothing to what I could say if I chose, the Duchess replied in a pleased tone. Pray don't trouble yourself to say it any longer than that, said Alice. Oh, don't talk about trouble, said the Duchess. I make you a present of everything I've said as yet. A cheap sort of present, thought Alice. I'm glad they don't give birthday presents like that, but she did not venture to say it out loud. Thinking again? The Duchess asked, with another dig of her sharp little chin. I've a right to think, said Alice sharply, for she was beginning to feel a little worried. Just about as much right, said the Duchess, as pigs have to fly, but here, to Alice's great surprise, the Duchess's voice died away, even in the middle of her favorite word moral, and the arm that was linked into hers began to tremble. Alice looked up, and there stood the Queen in front of them, with her arms folded, frowning like a thunderstorm. A fine day, Your Majesty, the Duchess began in a low, weak voice. Now, I give you a fair warning, shouted the Queen, stamping on the ground as she spoke. Either you or your head must be off, and that in about half no time. Take your choice. The Duchess took her choice and was gone in a moment. Let's go on with the game, the Queen said to Alice, and Alice was too much frightened to say a word, but slowly followed her back to the croquet ground. The other guests had taken advantage of the Queen's absence, and were resting in the shade. However, the moment they saw her, they hurried back to the game, the Queen merely remarking that a moment's delay would cost them their lives. Mama, I need milk. Jinx. No. I don't have milk. No. The other guests had taken advantage. Wait. The moment they saw her, they hurried back to the game, the Queen merely remarking that a moment's delay would cost them their lives. All the time they were playing, the Queen never left off quarreling with the other players and shouting, "Off with his head," or "Off with her head." Those whom she sentenced were taken into custody by the soldiers, who, of course, had to leave off being archers to do this, so that by the end of half an hour or so there were no archers left, and all the players, except the King, the Queen, and Alice, were in custody and under sentence of execution. Then the Queen left off, quite out of breath, and said to Alice, "Have you seen the mock turtle yet?" "No," said Alice. "I don't even know what a mock turtle is." "It's the thing mock turtle soup is made from," said the Queen. "I never saw one or heard of one," said Alice. "Come on then," said the Queen, "and he shall tell you his history." As they walked off together, Alice heard the King say in a low voice to the company generally, "You are all pardoned. Come, that's a good thing," she said to herself, for she had felt quite unhappy at the number of executions the Queen had ordered. Ooh, I like that griffin. Oh. The spoon bonked me. Tuck me in? I'm nobody's mother. I can't tuck you in. They very soon came upon a griffin, lying last asleep in the sun. If you don't know what a griffin is, look at the picture. Up, lazy thing. said the queen, "and take this young lady to see the Mock Turtle, and to hear his history. I must go back and see after some executions I have ordered." And she walked off, leaving Alice alone with the griffin. Alice did not quite like the look of the creature, but on the whole she thought it would be quite as safe to stay with it as to go after that savage queen, so she waited. The griffin sat up and rubbed its eyes. Then it watched the queen till she was out of sight. Then it chuckled. "What fun!" said the griffin, half to itself, half to Alice. "What is the fun?" said Alice. "Why, she," said the griffin. "It's all her fancy, that. They never executes anybody, you know. Come on." "Everybody says come on here," thought Alice as she went slowly after it. "I never was so ordered about before in all my life. Never." They had not gone far before they saw the Mock Turtle in the distance, sitting sad and lonely on a little ledge of rock, and as they came nearer, Alice could hear him sighing as if his heart would break. She pitied him deeply. "What is his sorrow?" she asked the griffin, and the griffin answered, very nearly in the same words as before. "It's all his fancy, that. He hasn't got no sorrow, you know. Come on." Just finished Harry Potter Phoenix Order of something like that, so Gryffindor? What did you just say to me? Mock Turtle, my beloved. Oh my god. He's suffering. His existence is suffering. I just looked at the picture. So they went up to the Mock Turtle, who looked at them with large eyes full of tears, but said nothing. "Oh, add a friend? Okay, Anita. Can we add turtle?" "Yes. 1 second. I'll add a turtle. I think I do have a turtle, actually." I've got... Okay, so I don't think I have a singular turtle. Oh no, I do. Here. Here's the friend. I'll put him like there. Is that okay? That seems good. Like that. "Now, this here young lady," said the griffin, "she wants for to know your history, she do." "I'll tell it her," said the Mock Turtle in a deep, hollow tone. "Sit down, both of you, and don't speak a word till I've finished." So they sat down, and nobody spoke for some minutes. Alice thought to herself, "I don't see how he can ever finish if he doesn't begin." But she waited patiently. "Once," said the Mock Turtle at last, with a deep sigh, "I was a real turtle." These words were followed by a very long silence, broken only by an occasional exclamation of from the griffin, the constant heavy sobbing of the Mock Turtle. Alice was very nearly getting up and saying, "Thank you, sir, for your interesting story." But she could not help thinking there must be more to come, so she sat still and said nothing. "When we were little," the Mock Turtle went on at last, more calmly, though still sobbing a little now and then, "we went to school in the sea. The master was an old turtle. We used to call him Tortoise." "Why did you call him Tortoise if he wasn't one?" Alice asked. "You called him Tortoise because he taught us," said the Mock Turtle angrily. "Really, you are very dull." "You ought to be ashamed of yourself for asking such a simple question," added the griffin. They're all shaming her. They're all shaming Alice. So good. Then they both sat silent and looked at poor Alice, who felt ready to sink into the earth. At last the griffin said to the Mock Turtle, "Drive on, old fellow. Don't be all day about it." And he went on in these words. "Yes, we went to school in the sea, though you may not believe it." "I never said I didn't," interrupted Alice. "You did," said the Mock Turtle. "Hold your tongue," added the griffin, before Alice could speak again. The Mock Turtle went on. We had the best of educations. In fact, we went to school every day. I've been to a day school too, said Alice. You needn't be so proud as all that. With extras? Asked the Mock Turtle a little anxiously. Yes, said Alice. We learned French and music. And washing? Said the Mock Turtle. Certainly not, said Alice indignantly. Ah, then yours wasn't really a good school, said the Mock Turtle in a tone of great relief. Now what hours they had at the end of the bill. French, music, and washing. Extra. You couldn't have wanted it much, said Alice, living at the bottom of the sea. I couldn't afford to learn it, said the Mock Turtle with a sigh. I only took the regular course. What was that? Queered? Alice. Reeling and writhing, of course, to begin with, the Mock Turtle replied. And the different branches of arithmetic ambition, distraction, uglification, and derision. Hare Week 7 is out? Oh shoot, is it? Gotta take a look at that. I think I need to download the new Friday Night Funkin' then to play it. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Y'all hate Alice? Me too, man. But she's doing her best. Like, she's being very nice. I always thought Alice was kind of a cunt, but turns out she was actually really nice. Crashed Newgrounds for a bit thanks to so many people trying to play it. Oh my god. That's funny. I know there's a Kickstarter for it. But it is time to read more. Perhaps we can talk about stuff after we finish the book. Never heard of uglification, Alice ventured to say. What is it? The Griffin lifted up both its paws in surprise. Never heard of uglifying, it exclaimed. You know what to beautify is, I suppose? Yes, said Alice doubtfully. It means to make anything prettier. Well then, the Griffin went on, if you don't know what to uglify is, you are a simpleton. Alice did not feel encouraged to ask any more questions about it, so she turned to the Mock Turtle and said, what else had you to learn? Well, there was mystery, the Mock Turtle replied, counting off the subjects on his flappers. Mystery, ancient and modern, with seaography, then drawing. The drawing master was an old conger eel that used to come once a week. He taught us drawing, stretching, and fainting in coils. What was that like? Said Alice. Well, I can't show it to you myself, the Mock Turtle said. I'm too stiff, and the Griffin never learned it. Hadn't time, said the Griffin. I went to the classical master, though. He was an old crab, he was. I never went to him, the Mock Turtle said with a sigh. He taught laughing and grief, they used to say. So he did, said the Griffin, sighing in his turn, and both creatures hid their faces in their paws. And how many hours a day did you do lessons? Said Alice, in a hurry to change the subject. 10 hours the first day, said the Mock Turtle, 9 the next, and so on. What a curious plan, exclaimed Alice. That's the reason they're called lessons, the Griffin remarked, because they listened from day to day. This was quite the new idea to Alice, and she thought it over a little before she made her next remark. Then the 11th day must have been a holiday? Of course it was, said the Mock Turtle. And how did you manage on the 12th? Alice went on eagerly. That's enough about lessons, the Griffin interrupted in a very decided tone. Tell her something about the games now. There's voices making me fall asleep. ASMR perfection. Is this ASMR? I mean, I guess it could be considered ASMR, huh? Ah! I hope it's nice. Gonna use that one for school. Yeah. If anyone asks me anything that I don't know about, I'll just say, alright, moving on. That's what I do a lot anyway, to be completely fair. Okay. Alright. Chapter 10. The Lobster Quadrille. What? The Mock Turtle sighed deeply and drew the back of one flapper across his eyes. He looked at Alice and tried to speak, but for a minute or two sobs choked his voice. "Same as if he had a bone in his throat," said the Griffin, and it set to work shaking him and punching him in the back. At last the Mock Turtle recovered his voice, and with tears running down his cheeks, he went on again. "You may not have lived much under the sea." "I haven't," said Alice. "And perhaps you were never even introduced to a lobster." Alice began to say, "I once tasted," but checked herself hastily and said, "No, never." "So you can have no idea what a delightful thing a lobster quadrille is." "No, indeed," said Alice. "What sort of a dance is it?" "Why," said the Griffin, "you first form into a line across the seashore." "2 lines," cried the Mock Turtle. "Seals, turtles, salmon, and so on. Then, when you've cleared all the jellyfish out of the way—" "That generally takes some time," interrupted the Griffin. "You advance twice, each with a lobster as a partner," cried the Griffin. "Of course," the Mock Turtle said. "Advance twice, set 2 partners, change lobsters and retire in the same order," continued the Griffin. "Then, you know," the Mock Turtle went on, "you throw the lobsters," shouted the Griffin, with a bound into the air, "as far out to sea as you can." "Swim after them," screamed the Griffin. "Turn a somersault in the sea," cried the Mock Turtle, capering wildly about. "Change lobsters again," yelled the Griffin at the top of his voice. "Back to land again, and that's all the first figure," said the Mock Turtle, suddenly dropping his voice, and the 2 creatures, who had been jumping about like mad things all this time, sat down again very sadly and quietly, and looked at Alice. "Must be a very pretty dance," said Alice timidly. "Would you like to see a little of it?" said the Mock Turtle. "Very much indeed," said Alice. "Come, let's try the first figure," said the Mock Turtle to the Griffin. "We can do it without lobsters, you know. Which shall sing?" "Gonna punch God because of me?" "Don't do it. Don't punch God. Shoot God instead, yeah. That should be more effective." "Oh, you sing," said the Griffin. "I've forgotten the words." They began solemnly dancing around and round Alice, every now and then treading on her toes when they passed too close, and waving their 4 paws to mark the time, while the Mock Turtle sang this very slowly and sadly. I have no clue what tune it's supposed to be, so I'm just going to read it. "Will you walk a little faster?" said a whiting to a snail. "There's a porpoise close behind us, and he's treading on my tail." See how eagerly the lobsters and the turtles all advance. They are waiting on the shingle. Will you come and join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, will you join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you join the dance? You can really have no notion how delightful it will be when they take us up and throw us with the lobsters out to sea. But the snail replied, too far, and gave a look askance. Said he thanked the whiting kindly, but he would not join the dance. Would not, could not, would not join the dance. Would not, could not join the dance. I'm at peace. Hi, Gina. I'm glad. What matters is how far we go, his scaly friend replied. There's another shore, you know, upon the other side. The further off from England, the nearer is to France. Then turn not pale, beloved snail, but come and join the dance. Will you, won't you, will you, won't you join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you join the dance? Thank you. It's a very interesting dance to watch, said Alice, feeling very glad it was over at last. And I do so like that curious song about the whiting. Oh, as to the whiting, said the Mock Turtle. You've seen them, of course. Yes, said Alice. I've often seen them at Din. She checked herself hastily. I don't know where Din may be, said the Mock Turtle, but if you've seen them so often, of course you know what they're like. I believe so, Alice replied thoughtfully. They have their tails in their mouths, and they're all over crumbs. You're wrong about the crumbs, said the Mock Turtle. Crumbs would all wash off in the sea, but they have their tails in their mouths, and the reason is... Here, the Mock Turtle yawned and shut his eyes. I'll hear about the reason and all that, he said to the Griffin. The reason is, said the Griffin, that they would go with the lobsters to the dance. They got thrown out to the sea. They had to fall a long way. They got their tails fast in their mouths. They couldn't get them out again. That's all. Thank you, said Alice. It's very interesting. I never knew so much about whiting before. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what a whiting is. I can tell you more than that if you like, said the Griffin. Do you know why it's called a whiting? I never thought about it, said Alice. Why? It does the boots and the shoes, the Griffin replied very solemnly. Alice was thoroughly puzzled. Does the boots and shoes, she repeated in a wondering tone. Why, what are your shoes done with? Said the Griffin. I mean, what makes them so shiny? Alice looked down at them and considered a little before she gave her answer. They're done with blacking, I believe. Boots and shoes under the sea, the Griffin went on in a deep voice, are done with whiting. Now you know. And what are they made of? Alice asked in a tone of great curiosity. Soles and eels, of course, the Griffin replied rather impatiently. Any shrimp could have told you that. If I'd been the whiting, said Alice, whose thoughts were still running on the song, and have said to the porpoise, keep back, please. Why don't you join us? What the fuck did I just say? Keep... Oh, God. I got scared again. But thank you, semantically satiated, for the host. I got spooked. And welcome. You don't know what that is? Yeah, me neither. But hello, and thank you. I'd have said to the porpoise, keep back, please. We don't want you with us. We're obliged to have him with them, the Mock Turtle said. No wise fish would go anywhere without a porpoise. Wouldn't it really? Said Alice in a tone of great surprise. Of course not, said the Mock Turtle. Why, if a fish came to me and told me he was going a journey, I should say, with what porpoise? Don't you mean purpose? Said Alice. I mean what I say, the Mock Turtle replied in an offended tone, and the Griffin added, come, let's hear some of your adventures. I could tell you my adventures, beginning from this morning, said Alice a little timidly, but it's no use going back to yesterday, because I was a different person then. Explain all that, said the Mock Turtle. No, the adventures first, said the Griffin in an impatient tone. Explanations take such a dreadful time. Boo, no. It's just that it's so loud. And I never expect it. I usually don't get scared very easily, but I'm just trying to be relaxed, and then suddenly bing, and I go you know? So it spooks me. Thank you for being here. So Alice began telling them her adventures from the time she first saw the white rabbit. She was a little nervous about it just as first the two creatures got so close to her, one on each side, and opened their eyes and mouths so very wide, but she gained courage as she went on. The listeners were perfectly quiet till she got to the part about her repeating, "You are old, Father William," to the caterpillar, and the words all coming different, and then the Mock Turtle drew a long breath and said, "That's very curious." "It's all about as curious as it can be," said the Griffin. "It all came different?" The Mock Turtle repeated thoughtfully. "I should like to hear her try and repeat something now. Tell her to begin." He looked at the Griffin as if he thought as if he thought it had some kind of authority over Alice. "Stand up and repeat, 'tis the voice of the sluggard,'" said the Griffin. "How the creatures order one about and make one repeat lessons," thought Alice. "Might just as well be at school at once." However, she got up and began to repeat it, but her head was so full of the lobster quadrille that she hardly knew what she was saying, and the words came out very queer indeed. "'Tis the voice of the lobster, I heard him declare, you have baked me too brown, I must sugar my hair. As a duck with its eyelids, so he with his nose trims his belt and his buttons and turns out his toes." "That's different from what I used to say when I was a child," said the Griffin. One second. Time to drink. Oh. Okay. "Well, I never heard it before," said the Mock Turtle, "but it sounds uncommon nonsense." Alice said nothing. She had sat down again with her face in her hands, wondering if anything would ever happen in a natural way again. "I should like to have it explained," said the Mock Turtle. "She can't explain it," said the Griffin hastily. "Go on with the next verse." "But about his toes?" the Mock Turtle persisted. "How could he turn them out with his nose, you know?" "It's the first position in dancing," Alice said, but she was dreadfully puzzled by the whole thing and longed to change the subject. "Go on with the next verse," the Griffin repeated impatiently. It begins, I passed by his garden." Alice did not dare to disobey, though she felt sure it would all come wrong, and she went on in a trembling voice. "I passed by his garden and marked with one eye how the owl and the oyster were sharing a pie." "What is the use of repeating all that stuff?" the Mock Turtle interrupted. "You don't explain it as you go on. It's by far the most confusing thing I ever heard." "Yes, I think you'd better leave off," said the Griffin, and Alice was only too glad to do so. "Shall we try another figure of the lobster quadrille?" the Griffin went on. "Or would you like the Mock Turtle to sing you a song?" "Oh, a song, please, if the Mock Turtle would be so kind," Alice replied so eagerly that the Griffin said, in a rather offended tone, "No accounting for tastes. Sing her turtle soup, will you, old fellow?" The Mock Turtle sighed deeply and began in a voice sometimes choked with sobs to sing this: "Beautiful soup, so rich and green, waiting in a hot tureen. Who for such dainties would not stoop? Soup for the evening, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup." "Soup of the evening, beautiful, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, who cares for fish, game, or any other dish? Who would not give all else for 2p? Pennyworth only of beautiful soup. Pennyworth only of beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful, beautiful soup." "Chorus again!" cried the Griffin, and the Mock Turtle had just begun to repeat it when a cry of "The trial's beginning!" was heard in the distance. "Come on!" cried the Griffin, and taking Alice by the hand, it hurried off, without waiting for the end of the song. "What trial is it?" Alice panted as she ran, but the Griffin only answered, "Come on!" and ran the faster, while more and more faintly came carried on the breeze that followed them the melancholy words, "Soup of the evening, beautiful, beautiful soup." Ah yes, the soup song, my favorite. Ah yes, the soup song. The song I sing before every soup. Ah God, if you don't sing the soup song before eating soup, are you even a soup gamer? Come on, don't be ridiculous. No, Boldrat, my tea is not for you, no matter how much noise it makes. Who stole the tarts? I read that as who stole the rats. Chapter 11. who stole the tarts. The king and queen of hearts were seated on their throne when they arrived, with a great crowd assembled about them, all sorts of little birds and beasts, as well as the whole pack of carts. The knave was standing before them in chains, with a soldier on each side to guard him. And near the king was the white rabbit, with a trumpet in one hand and a scroll of parchment in the other. In the very middle of the court was a table, with a large dish of tarts upon it. They looked so good that it made Alice quite hungry to look at them. I wish they'd get the trial done, she thought, and hand round the refreshments. But there seemed to be no chance of this, so she began looking at everything about her to pass away the time. Alice had never been in a court of justice before, but she had read about them in books, and she was quite pleased to find that she knew the name of nearly everything there. That's the judge, she said to herself, because of his great wig. The judge, by the way, was the king, and as he wore his crown over the wig, look at the frontispiece, what? If you want to see how he did it. He did not look at all comfortable, and was certainly not becoming. And that's the jury box, thought Alice. And those 12 creatures. She was obliged to say creatures, you see, because some of them were animals and some were birds. Chug soup? Oh no. Soup gamer? Sure you are, Anita. No. I think I'm the only soup gamer around. I suppose they are jurors. She said this last word 2 or 3 times over to herself, being rather proud of it, for she thought, and rightly too, that very few little girls of her age knew the meaning of it all. At all. However, jurymen would have done just as well. The 12 jurors were all writing very busily on slates. What are they doing? Alice whispered to the griffin. They can't have anything to put down yet before the trial's begun. They're putting down their names, the griffin whispered in reply, for fear they should forget them before the end of the trial. Stupid things, Alice began in a loud, indignant voice, but she stopped herself hastily, for the white rabbit cried out, "Silence in the court!" And the king put on his spectacles and looked anxiously round, to make out who was talking. Alice could see, as well as if she were looking over their shoulders, that all the jurors were writing down "stupid things" on their slates, and she could even make out that one of them didn't know how to spell stupid, and that he had to ask his neighbor to tell him. A nice muddle their slates will be in before the trial is over, thought Alice. One of the jurors had a pencil that squeaked. This, of course, Alice could not stand, and she went round the court and got behind him, and very soon found an opportunity of taking it away. She did it so quickly that the poor little juror, it was Bill the lizard, not Bill the lizard, could not make out at all what had become of it. So, after hunting all for it, he was obliged to write with one finger for the rest of the day. It was of very little use, as it left no mark on the slate. "Herald, read the accusation," said the king. On this the white rabbit blew 3 blasts on the trumpet, and then unrolled the parchment scroll, and read as follows. "The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts, and all on a summer day. The knave of hearts, he stole those tarts, and took them quite away." "Consider your verdict," the king said to the jury. "Not yet, not yet," the rabbit hastily interrupted. "There's a great deal to come before that. Call the first witness," said the king, and the white rabbit blew 3 blasts on the trumpet and called out, "First witness!" The first witness was the hatter. He came in with a teacup in one hand and a piece of bread and butter in the other. "I beg pardon, your majesty," he began, "for bringing these in, but I hadn't quite finished my tea when I was sent for." "You ought to have finished," said the king. "When did you begin?" The hatter looked at the March hare, who had followed him into the court, arm in arm with the dormouse. 14th of March, I think it was," he said. 15th, said the March hare. 16th, added the dormouse. "Write that down," the king said to the jury, and the jury eagerly wrote down all 3 dates on their slates, and then added them up and reduced the answer to shillings and pence. "Take off your hat," the king said to the hatter. "It isn't mine," said the hatter. Stolen? The king explained, turning to the jury, who instantly made a memorandum of the fact. I keep them to sell, the hatter added as an explanation. I've none of my own. I'm a hatter. Here, the queen put on her spectacles and began staring at the hatter, who turned pale and fidgeted. Give your evidence, said the king, and don't be nervous, or I'll have you executed on the spot. This did not seem to encourage the witness at all. He kept shifting from one foot to the other, looking uneasily at the queen, and in his confusion he bit a large piece out of his teacup instead of bread and butter. Just at this moment Alice felt a very curious sensation, which puzzled her a good deal until she made out what it was. Did my piano stop? Oh my god, yes, continue watching. I'm sorry, I didn't notice. It was beginning to grow larger again, and she thought at first she would get up and leave the court, but on second thought she decided to remain where she was as long as there was room for her. I wish you wouldn't squeeze so, said the dormouse, who was sitting next to her. I can hardly breathe. I can't help it, said Alice very meekly. I'm growing. You've no right to grow here, said the dormouse. Don't talk nonsense, said Alice more boldly. You know you're growing too. Yes, but I grow at a reasonable pace, said the dormouse. Not in that ridiculous fashion. And he got up very sulkily and crossed over to the other side of the court. All this time the queen had never left off staring at the hatter, and just as the dormouse crossed the court, she said to one of the officers of the court, Bring me the list of the singers in the last concert, on which the wretched hatter trembled so that he shook both his shoes off. Give your evidence, the king repeated angrily, or I'll have you executed, whether you're nervous or not. I'm a poor man, your majesty, the hatter began in a trembling voice, and I hadn't but just begun my tea, not above a week or so, and what with the bread and butter getting so thin, and the twinkling of the tea. Twinkling of what? Said the king. It began with the tea, the hatter replied. Of course, twinkling begins with a tea, said the king sharply. You take me for a dunce? Go on. I'm a poor man, the hatter went on, and most things twinkled after that. Only the March Hare said... Oh wait, this is Nintendo music. You know what? That's not bad. Only the March Hare said... I didn't, the March Hare interrupted in a great hurry. You did, said the hatter. I deny it, said the March Hare. He denies it, said the king. Leave out that part. Well, at any rate, the dormouse said... The hatter went on, looking anxiously round to see if he would deny it too. But the dormouse denied nothing, being fast asleep. After that, continued the hatter, I cut some more bread and butter. But what did the dormouse say? One of the jury asked. That I can't remember, said the hatter. You must remember, remarked the king, or I'll have you executed. The miserable hatter dropped his teacup and bread and butter and went down on one knee. I'm a poor man, your majesty, he began. You're a very poor speaker, said the king. Here one of the guinea pigs cheered and was immediately suppressed by the officers of the court. As that is rather a hard word, I will just explain to you how it was done. They had a large canvas bag which tied up at the mouth with strings. Into this they slipped the guinea pig head first and then sat upon it. I'm glad I've seen that done, thought Alice. I've so often read it in newspapers at the end of trials for some attempt at applause, which was immediately suppressed by the officers of the court, and I never understood what it meant till now. That's all you know about it. You may stand down, continued the king. I can't go any lower, said the hatter. I'm on the floor as it is. Then you may sit down, the king replied. Here the other guinea pig cheered and was suppressed. Come, that finished the guinea pigs, thought Alice. Now we shall get on better. I'd rather finish my tea, said the hatter with an anxious look at the queen, who was reading the list of singers. You may go, said the king, and the hatter hurriedly left the court without even waiting to put his shoes on. Is it where there is Twinkling's tea brand? Oh, is there? Twinkling tea brand? Maybe, I have no idea. Burn hatter. Big burn. and just take his head off outside. The queen added to one of the officers, but the hatter was out of sight before the officer could get to the door. "Call the next witness," said the king. The next witness was the Duchess's cook. She carried the pepper box in her hand, and Alice guessed who it was, even before she got into the court. By the way, the people near the door began sneezing all at once. "Give your evidence," said the king. "Shan't," said the cook. The king looked anxiously at the white rabbit. He said in a low voice, "Your Majesty must cross-examine this witness." "Well, if I must, I must. We're basically playing Phoenix Wright right now. Just so you know. Should I change the category?" The king said with a melancholy air, and after folding his arms and frowning at the cook till his eyes were nearly out of sight, he said in a deep voice, "What are tarts made of?" "Pepper, mostly," said the cook. "Treacle," said a sleepy voice behind her. "Collar that dormouse," the queen shrieked out. "Behead that dormouse. Turn that dormouse out of court. Suppress him, pinch him, off with his whiskers." For some minutes the whole court was in confusion, getting the dormouse turned out, and by the time they had settled down again, the cock had disappeared. But the cook had disappeared. "Never mind," said the king, with an air of great relief. "Call the next witness." And he added in an undertone to the queen, "Really, my dear, you must cross-examine the next witness. It quite makes my forehead ache." Alice watched the white rabbit as he fumbled over the list, feeling very curious to see what the next witness would be like. "For they haven't got much evidence yet," she said to herself. Imagine her surprise when the white rabbit read out, at the top of his shrill little voice, the name Alice. Oh. Alice goes to court. Alice goes to jail. Alice fucking dies. Oh. Nom nom. Oh, this has got to be the last chapter. That was a wild ride. But let's get it. We can finish. Okay. 9 pages left. Yeah. 9 pages left. This has got to be the last chapter. Also, look at that boy over here. Look at this little frogert. He's cool. Alice is guilty? I think so. I think Alice is dead at the end of the book. Okay. Chapter 11. Chapter 12. Alice's evidence. "Here!" cried Alice, quite forgetting in the flurry of the moment how large she had grown in the last few minutes, and she had jumped up in such a hurry that she tipped over the cherry box with the edge of her skirt. Wait. Oh, 1 second. Oh, 1 second. There's poop on me. I need to clean it up with a tissue, because rats are nasty and they don't care about your well-being or how little poop there is on you. Man, stop being nasty. Okay, I think I got it all. A free neck break. You're right, that was a free neck break. I didn't see it, but I can imagine. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. "Here!" cried Alice, quite forgetting in the flurry of the moment how large she had grown in the last few minutes. And she had jumped in such a hurry that she tipped over the cherry box with the edge of her skirt, upsetting all the cherrymen onto the heads of the crowd below. And there they lay sprawling about, reminding her very much of a globe of goldfish she had accidentally upset the week before. The week before? Oh, globe goldfish. Right, okay. "Oh, I beg your pardon," she exclaimed in a tone of great dismay, and began picking them up again as quickly as she could, for the accident of the goldfish kept running in her head, and she had a vague sort of idea that they must be collected at once and put back into the cherry box or they would die. Oh, that must be the lizard. But Bob? Bobbert? Something like that. No more pooping, Baldrat. The trial cannot proceed, said the king in a very grave voice, until all the jurymen are back in their proper places. All, he repeated with great emphasis, looking hard at Alice as he said so. Alice looked at the jury box and saw that, in her haste, she had put the lizard in head downwards, and the poor little thing was waving its tail about in a melancholy way, being quite unable to move. We soon got it out again and put it right. Not that it signifies much, she said to herself. I should think it would be quite as much use in the trial one way up as the other. As soon as the jury had a little recovered from the shock of being upset, and their slates and pencils had been found and handed back to them, they set to work very diligently to write out a history of the accident, all except the lizard, who had seemed too much overcome to do anything but sit with its mouth open, gazing up into the roof of the court. He's gone. The lizard is just done. Hi Pogchamp, hi Bitly. This is very ASMR. I guess so. I'm just reading. But I am trying to do like a softer voice, so it's nicer to listen to be fair. So I guess, yeah, I guess it's ASMR. But welcome. We're almost done. We have less than 10 pages left. And then we're gonna chat a bit. What do you know about this business? The king said to Alice. Nothing, said Alice. Nothing whatever? Persisted the king. Nothing whatever, said Alice. That's very important, the king said, turning to the jury. They were just beginning to write this down on their slates, when the white rabbit interrupted. Unimportant, your majesty, means of course, he said in a very respectful tone, but frowning and making faces at him as he spoke. Unimportant, of course, I meant, the king hastily said, and went on to himself in an undertone. Important, unimportant, unimportant, important, as if he were trying which word sounded best. This isn't a very relaxing song. Let me try to put it all the way. There we go. Since as I fall asleep. Oh, hi Bumble! Hello! Oh, and break my neck. Okay. Breaking my neck. There. I broke it. But yeah, we're almost done, but if you fall asleep, do not worry. I'm not going to raid anyone. So yeah. And then I'm just gonna talk a little, so you should be fine. In a cup breaks their neck, ASMR gone wrong. Yeah. Some of the jury wrote it down, important and some unimportant. Alice could see this as she was near enough to look over their slates. But it doesn't matter a bit, she thought to herself. At this moment the king, who had been for some time busily writing in his notebook, called out, "Silence!" and read out from his book, Rule 42, all persons more than a mile high to leave the court. Everybody looked at Alice. I'm not a mile high, said Alice. You are, said the king. Nearly 2 miles high, added the queen. Well, I shan't go at any rate, said Alice. Besides, that's not a regular rule. You invented it just now. It's the oldest rule in the book, said the king. Then it ought to be number 1, said Alice. The king turned pale and shut his notebook hastily. Consider your verdict, he said to the jury in a low, trembling voice. There's more evidence to come yet, please, your majesty, said the white rabbit, jumping up in a great hurry. This paper has just been picked up. What's in it? Said the queen. I haven't opened it yet, said the white rabbit, but it seems to be a letter written by the prisoner to somebody. Must have been that, said the king, unless it was written to nobody, which is unusual, you know. Who is it directed to? Said one of the jurymen. It isn't directed at all, said the white rabbit. In fact, there's nothing written on the outside. He unfolded the paper as he spoke, and added, It isn't a letter after all, it's a set of verses. Are they in the prisoner's handwriting? Asked another of the jurymen. No, they're not," said the White Rabbit. "And that's the queerest thing about it." The jury all looked puzzled. "You must have imitated somebody else's hand," said the king. The jury all brightened up again. "Please, your majesty," said the knave, "I didn't write it, and they can't prove I did. There's no name signed at the end." "If you didn't sign it," said the king, "that only makes the matter worse. You must have meant some mischief, or else you'd have signed your name like an honest man." There was a general clapping of hands at this. It was the first really clever thing the king had said all day. "That proves his guilt," said the queen. "It proves nothing of the sort," said Alice. "Why, you don't even know what they're about." "Read them," said the king. The White Rabbit put on his spectacles. "Where shall I begin, please, your majesty?" he asked. "Begin at the beginning," the king said, gravely, "and go on till you come to the end. Then stop." Directions. These were the verses the White Rabbit read. "They told me you had been to her, and mentioned me to him. She gave me a good character, but said I could not swim. He sent them word I had not gone. We know it to be true. If she should push the matter on, what would become of you? I gave her one, they gave him two. You gave us three or more. You all returned from him to you, though they were mine before. If I or she should chance to be involved in this affair, he trusts to you to set them free exactly as they were. My notion was that you had been, before she had this fit, an obstacle that came between him and ourselves and it. Don't let him know she liked them best, for this must ever be a secret kept from all the rest, between yourself and me." "That's the most important piece of evidence we've heard yet," said the king, rubbing his hands. "So now let the jury—" "If any one of them can explain it," said Alice. She had grown so large in the last few minutes that she wasn't a bit afraid of interrupting him. "I'll give him 6 pence. I don't believe there's an atom of meaning in it." The jury all wrote down on their slates, "She doesn't believe there's an atom of meaning in it," but none of them attempted to explain the paper. "If there's no meaning in it," said the king, "that saves a world of trouble, you know. As we... Oh my god, more poop. I'll scream. Bald rat. Nasty. Nasty boy. Disgusting. Poop gremlin. Ugly. You're not ugly. But stop pooping on me. Okay. I got it. Okay. Now, where was I? "There's no meaning in it," said the king. "That saves a world of trouble, you know, as we needn't try to find any. And yet, I don't know," he went on, spreading out the verses on his knee and looking at them with one eye. "I seem to see some meaning in them after all. That I could not swim. You can't swim, can you?" he added, turning to the knave. The knave shook his head sadly. "Do I look like it?" he said. Which he certainly did not, being made entirely of cardboard. "All right, so far," said the king, and he went on muttering over the verses to himself. "We know it to be true. That's the jury, of course. I gave her one, they gave him two. Why, that must be what he did with the tarts, you know. But it goes on, they all returned from him to you," said Alice. "Polar is a very handsome lad." "Yeah, he's very handsome. I cannot lie." Okay, there goes the tea. Goodbye, tea. "Why, there they are," said the king triumphantly, pointing to the tarts on the table. "Nothing can be clearer than that. Then again, before she had this fit— You never had fits, my dear, I think," he said to the queen. "Never," said the queen furiously, throwing an inkstand at the lizard as she spoke. The unfortunate little Bill had left off writing on his slate with one finger, as he found it made no mark. But he now hastily began again, using the ink that was trickling down his face, as long as it lasted. "Then the words don't fit you," said the king, looking round the court with a smile. There was a dead silence. "It's a pun," the king added in an angry tone, and everybody laughed. "Let the jury consider their verdict," the king said, for about the 20th time that day. "No, no," said the queen. "Sentence first, verdict afterwards." "Stuff and nonsense," said Alice loudly. "The idea of having the sentence first." "Hold your tongue," said the queen, turning purple. "I won't. Off with her head." The queen shouted at the top of her voice. Nobody moved. Who cares for you?" said Alice. She had grown to her full size by this time. "You're nothing but a pack of cards." "Gotta go off and eat dinner for a bit?" "It's okay, Lolly. Enjoy dinner. And goodbye if I end before you return, but I'll try not to." At this, the whole pack rose up into the air and came flying down upon her. She gave a little scream, half of fright and half of anger, and tried to beat them off, and found herself lying on the bank with her head in the lap of her sister, who was gently brushing away some dead leaves that had fluttered down the trees upon her face. "Wake up, Alice, dear," said her sister. "Why, that was a long sleep you've had." "Oh, I've had such a curious dream," said Alice. And she told her sister, as well as she could remember them, all these strange adventures of hers that you have just been reading about. And when she had finished, her sister kissed her and said, "It was a curious dream, dear, certainly. But now run into your tea. It's getting late." So Alice got up and ran off, thinking while she ran, as well as she might, what a wonderful dream it had been. But her sister sat still just as she left her, leaning her head on her hand, watching the setting sun, and thinking of little Alice and all her wonderful adventures, till she too began dreaming after a fashion, and this was her dream. First, she dreamed of little Alice herself. Once again, the tiny hands were clasped upon her knee, and the bright, eager eyes were looking up into hers. She could hear the very tones of her voice, and see that queer little toss of her head, to keep back the wandering hair that would always get into her eyes. And still as she listened, or seemed to listen, the whole place around her became alive with strange creatures of her little sister's dream. The long grass rustled at her feet as the white rabbit hurried by. The frightened mouse splashed his way through the neighboring pool. She could hear the rattle of the teacups as the March Hare and his friends shared their never-ending meal, and the shrill voice of the queen ordering off her unfortunate guests to execution. Once more, the pig baby was sneezing on the duchess's knee, while plates and dishes crashed around it. Once more, the shriek of the griffin, the squeaking of the lizard's slate pencil, and the choking of the suppressed guinea pigs filled the air, mixed up with the distant sobs of the miserable mock turtle. So she sat on with closed eyes and half believed herself in Wonderland, though she knew she had but to open them again and all would change to dull reality. The grass would be only rustling in the wind, and the pool ripplings to the waving of the reeds. The rattling teacups would change to tinkling sheep bells, and the queen's shrill cries to the voice of the shepherd boy, and the sneeze of the baby, the shriek of the griffin, and all the other queer noises would change, she knew, to the confused clamor of the busy farmyard, while the lowing of the cattle in the distance would take the place of the mock turtle's heavy sobs. Lastly, she pictured to herself how this same little sister of hers would, in the aftertime, be herself a grown woman, and how she would keep, through all her riper years, the simple and loving heart of her childhood, and how she would gather about her other little children and make their eyes bright and eager with many a strange tale, perhaps even with the dream of Wonderland of long ago, and how she would feel with all their simple sorrows and find a pleasure in all their simple joys, remembering her own child life and the happy summer days. The end. We did it. We finished the thing. Alright. How'd you... Oh, hi, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. You just came by the ending. Endings like that always make me tear up. Did you tear up? Oh wait, why am I like this? I'm supposed to be like this. Did I move? My bad. I think I moved by accident. Yeah, oh. I'm easily moved to tears. Especially if you get scared. Alright, well, that was Alice in Wonderland. How'd you guys like it? I feel like that went quite faster than last time. Last time, it moved very slowly for me, to be honest. Here we are. Hello. But I don't like it was all a dream ending, but the ending is nice. Yeah, I don't like the it was all a dream endings, but I do like the explanation at the end. I like that they said like, oh yeah, this was that and that was this and stuff. That was neat, but it was all a dream. It was all a scheme. I was like the first one to use it. Was it? I don't know. Maybe. I really don't know. But it was quite different than what I imagined it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a lot tamer. Explanation is nice. But I did enjoy reading it, so I hope you liked hearing it. Now it is time for us to talk. Yes, finally. Precisely. It's you and me time. I'm meeting a classmate tomorrow. He's coming to town for like a day, and he was like, "Hey, you wanna hang out for a bit?" So I told him, "Sure." So I hope that'll be nice. I kind of like I talked to him a little bit, a tiny bit. I almost fell asleep so many times. I've been dozing off. Why don't you just fall asleep? It's like almost 12 a.m. for you. No, it's not. Wait. I forget you're not in the UK. It's like... I can't do math. Like 6? Or something. Yeah, okay, I understand why you don't want to sleep yet. But... So I'm hanging out with him tomorrow, and hopefully that'll be fine. And we'll see. We'll see. It's like 6 p.m. I did it. I did the thing. I did the math. Dialytation Oryctolagus cuniculus with a drinking apparatus. Oryctolagus cuniculus? I thought the name was a lagomorph. Am I wrong? But yes, hello. Salutations to you too, Der Burger. How are you? Hehe, sciencey talk. Hehe, science. But that's my plan for tomorrow. I'm also going shopping because I don't have that much food anymore. I've been putting off shopping and then also not having time for it. I need to go tomorrow and I don't wanna. But at least I'll be able to buy snacks. I'm good? That's good, that's good. So that you know, that's my plan. Also, question. Now that we finished the 2 sessions of reading, it's definitely not going to be like a very often thing. And if yes, then they would be shorter stories. Even though, you know, Alice in Wonderland is pretty short, but it makes my throat sore. So I would like to read a little less. But would you be interested in this kind of stuff every once in a little bit in the future, maybe? So I know, so I can think about it sometime. But yeah, it would probably just be like shorter stuff. Sure. Okay. Alright. That's okay. One sure is enough for me. I was wondering how I was going to buy some groceries with some limited funds, and when I looked in my bank account, I randomly had $900 extra in there. Huh? Cece, stop spending money on VTubers. Start buying food for yourself. I think you have a spending problem. And I say this with care. Maybe you can read a collection of short stories or poems. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. CARES Act? What's a CARES Act? Is that like the COVID relief kind of thing? I know they're distributing money. I see randomly got 500 in her school account because she's in graduate school. Oh, I like supporting my bros. That is very nice. However, make sure you have enough money for yourself first, and then whatever you have left over, feel free to spend however you like, but definitely take care of groceries and rent and whatnot first, utilities and, you know, medical stuff if you need any. Take my money here. Okay, but only if you can actually spend it. I don't want none of that needy cash that you need. Okay? Yeah? Did we catch a bot? Be gone. Dude, make sure you buy groceries first. Yeah. Yeah, squints at you. Peanut butter crackers. You can't keep eating those! You can't keep eating peanut butter crackers all the time. You can't call that a meal. Are they toasty crackers? I don't even know. I've never even seen those, but they don't sound real. They don't sound like real food. I don't. Eat something better. I don't like the toasties. Do you like... Make sure to eat actual food. Munchies brand? That sounds ass. Those are just the ones in my house? Oh god. They're the munchies. It tastes bad to me. Gotcha. You can cook for fairly cheap. For the amount of food you get. It's much better and much healthier than whatever garbage you're putting in yourself. And there are some like really easy recipes. Get an egg and bread scramble. Put on bread, fry. Yummy. I don't like eggs. That's okay. Stir fry. You can make rice with anything. You can like some cheap meat even. I've tried so many times. That's okay. I'm the same with honey. I really want to like honey, but it's just not my thing. And I've tried a lot of times too. Yeah. And the only one that I kind of liked was like this honey sauce from KFC for their biscuits, and that was really good. But I don't think there was much honey in it. Stir fry, yeah. I make stuff with rice all the time. I love rice. I fucking love rice. So you can do like anything with rice, and stir fries are one of the easiest things to do. I love making stir fry. See? You don't need to eat peanut butter crackers all the time if you can just make real food. It's pretty straightforward to stir fry veggies and stuff. Exactly. It's very easy. Oh, hi Lolly, welcome back. What'd you have for dinner? I've been craving McDonald's again. I had it either at the start of the month or last month for the last time. And that was like with a big break in there, but I've been really craving McDonald's, bro, and I really want to get it. But it's kind of out of my out of my budget right now. It's much better to just make my own food. You have to be in a mood to eat actual food. That's not good. That's not good. And Panda Express today and peanut butter crack. Panda Express is alright. No, I don't think it's like the healthiest, but at least it's real food. I love their honey walnut shrimp. Ooh, I've never had Panda Express. Fried rice with hot dog? Huh. That sounds interesting. Rice and hot dogs don't quite sound great to me. But it definitely sounds interesting, to say the least. I hope you enjoyed it. That's like that sounds like a leftover meal. Exactly. I'm going to be dead within the next few years, so better live it up. What do you mean? What's that supposed to mean? It's delicious. You have the taste buds of a 9-year-old. I remember back in the day when I was a kid, I liked different really weird shit. Definitely sounds delicious. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know about delicious. But like, since you already brought it up, CZ, in a way, this is something that I've been saying since I was like 10. Oh, okay. I was gonna say if there's anything going on, to feel free to talk to me. I don't really mind helping people I know with stuff. But if you're okay, that is good. Okay. I don't remember where we... Oh yeah, right, childhood meals. They remind me of when I was little and I told a friend of mine she'd die before me because she was a year older than me. I tell that to Anita all the time, to be honest. I keep telling her, dude, you're gonna die before me because you're a year older. She goes, nope, nope. But at the same time, I feel like I'm healthier than Anita, so who knows? How much do you charge for therapy? Nothing. Because I'm not a professional. Yeah, so one of my childhood meals that I fucking loved was just hot dogs with bread and hot chocolate on the side. And I ate that every day for like a month straight. Whenever I came home from school, that was the meal I made. That was my lunch, bro. Just hot dogs, bread, and a hot chocolate. Delicious. It's a very interesting combo. I would not do that again. Corn, lots of corn. I love corn. I also did this like I guess like a fry. Dip the hot dog in chocolate. I would always eat it first and then I would drink the entire hot chocolate. It was weird. I don't understand how it didn't make me sick. I used to put corn in everything though. Like, I would make dumplings and egg and put corn in it, which to be fair was pretty good. Or I would make like a stir fry or whatever and put corn in it. Everything had corn. To be able to eat 15 ears of corn within a few minutes. Oh god. That is a joke, but chocolate covered bacon also exists. Chocolate covered bacon doesn't sound that bad because bacon is good with sweet, you know, like pancakes and maple syrup and stuff. Hot dogs covered in chocolate, now that sounds like absolute ass. My childhood was basically anything my mom made, so basically lots of Vietnamese food. Oh hi Hasher! Thank you for the raid! We're just having a little talk because we finished reading. Thank you! Hello! What'd you do? Did you play Pokemon again? As you can hear, there's Pokemon music in the background. Coincidentally. We had like pretty crappy food. Yeah, me too. Me too, me too. We're also talking about childhood meals, what we had as kids, so feel free to chirp in. Super unhealthy. TV dinners? Ew. My parents would actually cook for the first couple of years of my life. And would cook alright enough. I really liked my dad's grilled chicken. That was fucking delicious. He made it in the furnace outside that he built, and it was delicious. Can't believe I screwed up my own emote. Misty. Missed me as in reading, or missed me as in missed me? Either way, thank you. But yeah, it was delicious. I don't even know what he put in there. It was like a mix of paprika, salt, pepper, both. Oh, sure. And other stuff, and it was so good. It was so good. About chicken. I bought chicken, it cook and eat, and I never got around to it. What? What are you saying? I bought chicken, it cook and eat, and I never got around to it. What? What? But, what'd you play, Hasher? What'd you play? Did you have fun? Oh, to cook and eat. I see. I was thinking about that one for a minute. Did it go bad? Fat fingers. It's okay. Tiny phone. That's why I have the one with like the biggest screen. Or Pokemon today, and yes, it was fun. What's your team? Where'd you get? Are you still playing Platinum? Answer in that order. I feel very bad about wasting food, so whenever I know I'm not going to use meat in a good enough time span, I guess, I freeze it. I freeze it, and that's it, and then I take it out whenever. But you know, you need to use it within a reasonable amount of time, otherwise it still goes bad. So Platinum got up to just before Gym 5. Ooh, Gym 5. Is that the fighting gym? It's the fighting gym, right? Rock, grass, ghost. Ghost. I don't know what goes after ghost. Ghost is third. I think that's the fighting one, right? I got Monferno, Gyarados, Leafeon, Gliscor, Luxray, and Porygon2. The water gym? Ah, that was my other guess. Gym is the fighting one is before that then. That's a pretty good team. And I think you're alright for the water gym, to be fair. The only thing that you should watch out for is the fucking slug, but you've got Leafeon, so you should be fine. Pokemon is too spooky. Ghosts. Agreed. Pokemon is fucking terrifying, bro. Could never watch it as a child. Too scared. I don't even know what a Pikachu is. Way too scary, dude. I'm a little underleveled, but should be fine. The water gym is pretty alright. The one that I would be scared of is probably the ghost gym. The ghost gym and then the electric gym. I think the rest are fine. And then obviously the Elite Four and Cynthia, but Pikachu sounds like a peekaboo, so it must be spoopy. You're right. Too spoopy. Also, hello. Welcome, Jazam. Oh god. We're fine. God, I fucking love Pokemon. I wonder if I should play Pokemon anytime soon on the stream. Because I love Pokemon so much. But I kind of feel like I'd like to play Mystery Dungeon first before doing like the main series. Ghost Gym gave me a run for my money. I lost 2 Pokemon to it. And that was still me getting very lucky. Hiya, you're super cute. Aw, thank you. Hello. I don't know what you look like, but I bet you're cute too. I love Mystery Dungeon. Dude, I fucking love Mystery Dungeon so much. I love Mystery Dungeon. I think the ice gym can be pretty spooky too. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That can be pretty spooky too. Eating some grapes now, don't worry. Grapes are good. Make sure you get your daily veg and fruit in. Which I should still do. I love Mystery Dungeon games. Me too. I played a lot of Sky. Explorers of Sky. That was like the one I played the most, I think. It was great. I loved it. They're not peanut butter crackers in disguise. You better not be lying to me or else. I nearly cried at Explorers of Time. Me too. I did cry. Actually, when I was a kid, when I was like, I don't even know when I played it. Like, when I was like 10, 11 or something. And you know the part where the Lucario is like, "You're my best friend. I've loved you since I was, since I met you," and stuff like that. And I cried when I first saw that. And it was beautiful. Or no, your partner said that, because I remember I had a partner, Shanks. Shanks was my partner, and I remember the Shanks said something like that. I don't think it was the Lucario. The partner said some weird shit. Mystery Dungeon games destroyed me as a kid. That Chikorita and me went through a lot. I played last year. I did cry and I was very much grown up. Has anyone played the remake on the Switch? I haven't, but I think people played a little bit of it and he said it was pretty good. Dang video games. There's a part where you almost did the oof. Oh yeah, there's a part where you like almost die and then Shinx is like, "Oh my god, no, I can't, I don't know what I would do without you," and that made me cry when I was a child. So I think if I am going to play a Pokemon game anytime soon, it would be the Mystery Dungeons first, because I love those games so much. They're so good. They're so good. For me it was Chikorita and now I really like that Pokemon. That's Anita's favorite Pokemon. She loves Chikorita. So I like that. I like Chikorita only because Anita likes it. Who's what are your guys' favorite Pokemon, by the way? I ask this often enough, but I can never remember. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. That's okay, CZ. That's okay. You can just absorb the information and listen and chime in with Pikachu. Mudkip, I think you've told me that before, but I definitely forgot. I like Snorlax. Snorlax, he's alright, yeah. He's okay. A little Mudkip plushie, aw. Like Vaporeon because it's cute. Oh, Vaporeon is really cute. Chansey? Chansey? Why do you like Chansey? Chansey is such a strange answer. I'm not trying to shit on you or anything. I've just never heard anyone say Chansey was their favorite Pokemon. So cute and round. Fair enough, yeah. I love the partner in Gates. For me, it was Oshawott that I called Derpy. Aww, Oshawott. Oshawott's alright, yeah. He's cute. Chansey is cute. The Pokédex entry for Chansey and Blissey are so wholesome. Wait, what are the... let me look. Chansey Pokédex. The egg Chansey carries is not only delicious but also packed with nutrition. It's used as a high-class cooking ingredient. You're right, that is very wholesome. Wow, would you look at that? What generation? They all have different entrances for their Pokédex. Chansey, you took quite a chance with that answer. Chansey Pokédex entry. Alright, let's see the better one. No smug. No. Okay, let's see. Where the fuck are they? Oh, okay. A rare and elusive Pokemon that is set to bring happiness to those who manage to get it. Okay. I got a chuckle, I'll take it. I'm glad you at least chuckled. I'm not like super entertaining today. So I hope the good times make up for that. This is for Blissey. Whenever a Blissey finds a weakened Pokemon, it will share its egg and offer its care until the other Pokemon is all better. Okay. That's cute. I like. Okay. But I think I like the delicious egg more, to be honest. I want to eat Chansey's egg. Yum. Delicious, delicious egg. Do you think that's the eggs that people eat in the Pokemon universe? Do you think they just eat a Chansey egg? Because it's full of nutrition and it's delicious? Blissey senses sadness with its fluffy coat of fur. If it does so, this Pokemon will rush over to a sad person, no matter how far away, to share a lucky egg that brings a smile to any face. Oh, that's sweet. Okay. Okay, I can see why you like them. They're sweet, they're kind, and they're round, and they are egg, which is probably the most important thing, you know? Plus Pokemon. Bless Bliss. Bless Bliss. Bliss Chance. Mine are Emboar and Scolipede. Those are the two single most beautiful Pokemon in the entire world. Best Pokemon, nothing will ever beat them ever. In the world ever. Emboar and Scolipede. All the way. Okay. Gotta put this Bulbapedia away. And now, I scream at the sun. Hey you! Fuck off! Emboar is a boy? Emboar is a nice little thick bear, dude. Except a boar. Emboar is a thick bear boar. The big lads. Played Emerald when I was like 13. I played Emerald when I was like 8. Because my brother had it, and I had to beg my dad to get me the emulator. And I cried, and I went, oh, but I want Pokemon! And they never let me live that down. They repeated that all the time. They were like, oh, remember when you were a kid and you begged us to give you Pokemon? And you went, I want Pokemon! And I went, yes, father, every time. Every time you talk about it, I remember. I never played Black and White, so never saw much of them. Oh, but they're so cool. Oi, son, go fuck yourself. Oi, you over there? Oi, gonna fucking fight? Catch these hands. If I ever get hand capture, you'll fucking see. You'll see these hands move. What was I talking about? His father's is the 6th time today. I thought N was such a cutie when I played Black and White. N is a cutie. N is like a teenage girl's wet dream. He's mysterious and cute and a little bit of a femboy, you know? And he's Asian, I think. That's my headcanon. He's Asian because it's Pokemon and it's from Japan. So, I mean, you know. Oh, this is Zelda music. Wah, 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 wah. I really like this one. He's a mysterious pretty boy. Yeah, pretty much. All guys and girls dream of femboy. Who doesn't love a femboy? Who doesn't love a femboy? Unless they're like fake femboys, you know. I don't want no fake femboys. I want those real femboys. I want a femboy for my birthday. God, I wish I was a femboy. Sadly, I will never be a femboy. Why even fucking live? I'll ask my dad. I don't know. I don't know what your dad would do about that. But you can do your best, and I believe in you. And I can. I'm sure there are femboys for rent somewhere. That's such a good business idea. Do you know how people in Japan like cuddle for money? Let's do that, but with femboys. Now that's an idea. If anyone fucking steals it, I will murder you. Femboys for rent? Uh-huh. Come on, that's such a good idea. Race you to the pen. No, I'm already there. I'm running. There's probably something like that in Japan already. Probably. Yeah, but Westerners. Order a femboy on Uber. Femboy dash. Just call them up, get a femboy, hang out with them, and have a good time. There isn't anything that could go wrong, you know? Just order a femboy online right now. Do it. Alright, so anything other than femboys though. Honestly, cuddling for money doesn't sound that bad. Cuddling is cool, and money is cool. I mean, come on. Call now and get 2 for the price of 1. Oh my god. You can pay people to hang out with you? I would totally be the one to like be paid to hang out with people. I wish I could do that. Just make people pay me to hang out with them. That'd be neat. See a couple of those stories about prostitutes getting called up only for cuddling. Aw. Oh yeah, I've seen that too. I need to get on that. Me too. Alright, who wants to pay me just to hang out for like an hour? I've actually seen on Fiverr like gamer girls who will play video games with you for like $50 for an hour. Now that's a business.
Let's go.
Thank you, Lolly. Thank you. I'll do it here. I'll pay you. I'll give you $20. CZ, you need to buy food first. That's pretty much Twitch. You're right. I'm already doing it. I'm living my dream. Yes. One-on-one though. One-on-one must be a bit harder, I feel. Yes, CZ, buy something else other than peanut butter crackers. Seriously, dude. Seriously, Jesus. Buy something else before you spend your money on hanging out with someone who streams all the time and you can hang out with them anyway. On the reverse of that, who do I pay to make sure no one touches me ever? I think you've got COVID to thank to that, so maybe donate to like a research center. Something. I need the social interaction more. Oh my god, no. Food, and then. Plus I'm getting a shit ton of overtime. Ew. Wait, what do you even do, CC? I don't know if you've told me, and if you have, I do not remember. Maybe hare is a bodyguard service too. I'll protect. I did little fists, punching the air. Research that spreads COVID? Sure. Yes. Research center to spread it even more so you never have to talk to anyone ever again. Honestly, I feel pretty happy inside of the apartment talking to no one. It's been pretty good. I work in a supermarket surplus store. Oh, wait, what do you do there? Because that can either be really shitty or just shitty. Or alright, if you're like a manager or something. Hair protect, but most importantly, get cuddles using that paycheck. Hell yeah. A busy time, so I'm getting a lot of hours. 60 hours a week? What the fuck? Is that legal? Can you even do that? Can you give person 60 hours a week? What, do you work 6 days a week and get 10 hours every time? Jesus Christ. That's not okay. That doesn't sound good. That sounds like hell, actually. That sounds like hell. Yes, that's what I said. That's what I said. That's not good. That's not good at all. I used to work 12 hours. For like max of 3 days in a row. Or 4, and that was ass. So I can imagine. Even when my sister was working fast food, she didn't do more than 50. Yeah. I want the money. Yes, I do. Jeez. Do you at least get paid good money? Or do you just do it for crumpets? Then again, she was in school. Yeah. I don't know. This is shit. This is so shit though. People overwork for nothing. For nothing. They get paid shit. I got paid like $5. I got paid $5 an hour for 12 hours. $15 an hour, $22.50 with overtime. So no. Yeah, what the fuck? What the fuck? That's ass. Stop spending money on VTubers. Stop. Get yourself some good food. Okay? That's like, I'm giving you a mission for the rest of the month and for next month and hopefully for the rest of your life. Stop spending so much money on VTubers. And eat food. Eat food and put aside like a feasible amount, you know, like an amount you know you don't need, and you can spend that on whatever you want. But jeez. Keeping my subscriptions though, how many is that? Yes, easy to say some shrimping for the rest of us. I'm an attention whore. That's understandable, but money's gonna only give you fake attention, you know? If they truly care, they'll give you attention even if you don't give them money, you know? Or, you know, just be active, and eventually they'll remember you, and then you'll get attention. And that's it. You don't need to give them money that you need for food. Oh my. Caesar gets paid in peanut butter crackers. If only that were true. If only that were true. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to like sound like I'm scolding you or anything. Obviously, I can use your money for whatever you want, but just like take care of yourself, bro. Could have made that really sad, but I'm not going to. You better not. You better not. Ruin the whole vibe. Sorry, it's okay. I don't think you ruined anything, to be fair. But you're fine. Alright. Let's switch topics so we don't make CZ uncomfortable. So, rats, am I right? We're just chatting. We're just having a good time. We're just talking about stuff and bits and whatnot. You know? It's okay. It is. Alright. I'm kind of also thinking like what I should cook for this month. Not month. This week. Because I usually think of what to... bald rat. It's about bald rat's huge ball that you sent me earlier. Yeah, bald rat has huge balls. Rats, am I right? Ah, rats. But yeah, I'm wondering what to buy. Thor's packing. You're too big. He's got a lot of human in there. Come on. You're just jealous. I'm shook. Well, be shook because he's not going anywhere for at least a little bit. He's like, oh, you know, my eyes are up here. Shows you his balls. Ballrat? More like ballrat. I can actually show you the picture that I sent to Doodle earlier. I just need to find it. So if you give me a second. You can see his balls in the full glory. Like she could. Alright, let me find it. Oh, there it is. Okay. This is premium only rats content. Here. Look. His balls are so fucking big. I cannot believe his balls are this huge. And I couldn't even tell what they were at first. My mom thought they were tumors when she first saw his balls. They're huge. I know. Alright, who's jealous of Baldrad's balls? Raise your hand. I'm raising my hand right now. It's big, man. And I'm trying to get Baldrad babies. So I'm like breeding him with one of my girls, and so far I've tried twice. So far nothing. But she was in heat the other day, like really bad. And I never caught her in heat before that. Like she's a little older. She's like a year and a half or 2 years ish. She's kind of old now. And I'm hoping third time's the charm, bro. Because I really want Bolt babies. Because I don't know what I'll do when Boldrad passes. You know? I love him so much. I love him so much, dude. I'll be so sad. I already get really sad thinking about it. Raise his hand. Yeah, me too, Doodle. Me too, CZ. Just fly in my house. Let it out. You're either jealous or you're lying. Yeah. Maybe I should get a model where I just have huge balls. Hare with huge balls is what my new name is going to be. No cup. I sit on the balls, actually. I'm sure you would appreciate, right? Right? This is truly the darkest timeline. Time to change my fan art to be accurate. Yeah, I gotta change all of it. I feel like that would be too spicy for Twitch. Yeah, maybe. Possibly. I guess balls are part of genitalia, huh? Which is worse than boobs. And I know that some people get banned for boobs. It's also always in the cut. Yeah, no cut. We're getting rid of the cut. Balls only. Balls only run now. Balls percentage. God, what would I give to be a rat with massive badonkers on my lower abdomen? God, that would be the fucking coolest shit. Only maybe someday. Maybe someday. Blood Rat fan art would look like that one South Park episode. Which one? I've never seen. I've seen like 10 South Park episodes. So I don't think I know the one you're talking about. But I believe it's great. I believe it's beautiful. I tried to watch South Park from the first season, but the first season is so bad. And from what I know, the humor never changes, and all they talk about is dildos and cats. You know, Kitty, you're a dildo or something like that, and that is peak humor, and I can't stand it. If it was a bit more witty, but they're not really doing anything. And I'm sorry to anyone who likes South Park. There's one where they get testicular cancer and bounce on their gigantic balls like those yoga balls. See? See? That's what I mean. It just keeps getting worse. I remember watching a clip where the guy sticks his balls in the microwave. I couldn't get into South Park, and oddly enough, it's because of the animation. I don't like the animation too much, but I guess I don't mind it that much either. It's tweening. It's alright. It's not great. That's it, doodle. Yeah, that's it. You're out. Die. Pew pew. Gun. I haven't watched that show in so long. Time to die? Good. I don't like that. I don't like the show that much. It's understandable. Yeah. Personally, I tried. I give it a chance. This is what the chat devolves into when we try to avoid talking about pee instead. Never talk about piss again. 3 strikes. Oh no. Oh no. Either that or we're Wizzy from Alice in Wonderland. What's your fascination with piss? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, peeing is great. Don't get me wrong. Feels good. But what? Why? Why must I be the piss demon? Why can't no one else carry the curse? Why me? I didn't do anything. Pee pee poo poo? Exactly. Research told me that if you have piss on your skin for long enough, you'll get a low-grade burn. I don't know how accurate that is. But I don't think so. It would probably have to be like highly concentrated. She just tell me this shit she learns from class. That has to be like very highly concentrated piss though, because like if you drink a lot of water, I don't think it would do that. But if you don't drink much water, it would probably be not great. Did she tell you the details of that? There was someone who thought that urine makes people get pregnant who are in the 7th grade. Oh no. Apparently accurate, but yeah, it needs to be mostly dehydrated piss. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Because it is pretty, what's the word? Acidic? Is that what I'm looking for? But only if it's like super concentrated. You can pee on a handkerchief and use it as a mask against smoke to avoid poisoning. I heard about that. So if you ever get in a fire, that's what you do. It's because one of the chemicals in piss degrades into ammonia when exposed to water. And there's water in piss, so it slowly becomes more and more concentrated ammonia. Yeah. That sounds like a thing. That sounds... That's why when they're like... what's the word? Abused? Not quite abused, but like... when people don't take care of their animals, right? When people like close an animal in a room for a while, and they, you know, they shit and piss everywhere. That's why there's just so much fucking ammonia, stink in there, and it's unbearable, and it's actually really bad for you. Intellectual chat, what have I done? Lolly? You have no one to blame but yourself. This is what you have fucking done. Like my brother? Uh-oh. Tell him to empty the bucket, please. That's not good. That's not good at all. Mm-mm. Abuse. Neglected. That's the word I was looking for. Neglected animals. There you go. I can speak. I can talk. Big brain piss conversation. Yes. Yes. If we don't talk about piss at least once per stream, are we really streaming at all? You know? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's like my chat and farts. Yeah, but you have the redeem, you know? You have the redeem. And I feel like it's a lot easier to talk about farts because everyone redeems the farts. Because they're not necessarily funny, but you always get scared by them. And that's funny, you know? And then you say, stop farting in my ear. And then everyone goes, yeah. Can we have a piss sound alert? Are we gonna make piss a thing now? Is that it? Am I a piss streamer? Are we doing this? You must have piss chat to be considered a streamer. How far I've fallen. I have become the one thing I swore I would never be. You don't have to make piss a thing. I was kidding. But thank you. Thank you for telling me we don't have to. Yeesh. At least you're not an RRS streamer. Yeah. I actually thought about it. Because I really don't like that, right? I don't really mind it if like my friends do it that much. But when it's like those big woo girls or woo boys that just do fan service and whatnot for their chat and like do weird shit, that's when I really mind. And wait, someone in my chat is actually trying to save up for it, hopefully ironically. That's your fault for putting it in there. But yeah, I know, I saw that. They'll never save up for it. But I thought about it. I thought about like if I was ever asked to do that, like how much would it cost to make me do it? And I thought like I'd do it for like 50,000. Cause it's embarrassing and it's I don't want to do it. But if I really had to, I'd make it for those big bucks, you know? Embarrass myself, but at least get some good cash. The joke we came up with together. That's true. That is true. I mean, it's 69.40. Oh god. I remember watching a streamer try the RR thing and sound like an old lady instead. Yeah, the thing is, the thing is, people like try to make it sound super sexual, and I think that's what I have a problem with. And they like roll the R's, and it makes sense. Old ladies say it too. Yeah, like mom characters, right? Like women you look up to is what it came out of. Just a motherly type thing. Yeah. And but like everyone tries to make it super sexual sounding, and it makes me really uncomfortable. I mean, like she sounded like my grandmother calling it for water for she's dying. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan. I also saw someone do a 2-hour stream of just Ara, and I've never been so uncomfortable. I obviously didn't watch the 2 hours, but I skipped through the video to like see if they maybe stopped or something. They actually went like 15 minutes overboard. Yeah, that girl. Yeah. Yeah, and I couldn't. I just that was really too much for me. That truly was one of the lowest feelings I've ever had. Bruh. The thing is, like, I don't understand it, you know? I do let people do what they want, but at the same time, like, I'm gonna think my own opinions on it, you know? Even if they're a little harsh. And I just don't get it, and I don't know why they're doing that kind of stuff. People do be trying too hard, but these people are getting the big bucks for it. Look, if you get paid for it, good on you. I'm pretty sure this streamer did get like a good amount of donations and whatnot, but still super weird to me. People are really horny. People are really horny, and it surprises me. Like, I've always known that, right? I've always known that people are, like, you know, really horny, but it surprises me just how horny the VTuber community in particular is. And, like, not only the viewers, but also a lot of the VTubers themselves. I didn't know I was getting into such a sexual field when I first started to try and get into it. I didn't know it was gonna happen. So, my I'm still getting used to it. Go to horny jail. Off to horny jail with you. Now come sub to my OnlyFans at this link. Only rats pulled rat. Yeah. This is how anime fans in general are too. I guess so. I don't know. I guess I don't know that many hardcore anime fans. I used to be super into anime and I saw the same shit on 4chan. Yeah, you're right, actually. You're right. I do see the same kind of weird shit on 4chan. I browse every once in a bit and shit is weird there. Hi Bebop. Did you wake up from your nap? All the VTubers I watch now know each other and they're pretty. That's fair. I'm not saying every single one, but it's definitely a lot more sexual than I anticipate it to be. You know? Obviously not every single one, but there are some even like some popular ones that are super into the horny game. I'm not gonna name any names because I don't want to fight, but yeah. 4chan is where the floodgates are torn open and everything floods in. That's true. 4chan is a gutter, bro. But I guess that's just a problem that I have with the VTuber community in general. A lot of people try to, like, be really sexy and be super sexual just for the sake of being sexual, I guess. Nah. I don't like it. That's all, really. That's all that I think about it. And I've got more poop on me. Great. This time it was popcorn. Let's lynch him. Where did the thing go? No. I need a napkin to pick it up. Okay. People donate a lot of money for being overly sexual. I think that's a lot of the reason why people do it. They know that people will pay for that kind of stuff. And oh my god! Sorry about that. And so they try to be a little over the top with it, you know? Neck break. You're welcome. It's a little. That's the fan service I give you. I give you a free neck break. Mm-hmm. I guess I understand it from that standpoint. To make money, to be really sexual. I still don't like it, but at least they're being smart about it, you know? Pandering to people who are lonely or just generally fantasize about them and giving them some fan service. I understand that, yeah. If you make those big bucks, who gives a shit what you do? Unless it's harmful, which I guess this actually could be harmful for the viewer, especially getting a parasocial relationship with the streamer. But like, still, I think that's their fault. You know, I think the viewer should know that the streamer is still a person, and you can't have a close relationship with everyone you watch. You know, or even anyone. It really depends. It really depends on luck and how you are as a person and whatnot. But I think that's just something that people have to go in, or you know, count with when they watch people, when they watch streamers. You have to understand that you just can't be everybody's close friend or everybody's boyfriend or girlfriend or partner and whatnot. But we kind of talked about that yesterday. So I don't want to repeat myself too much. Anyway, I think it is time for me to end today. And I will probably raid someone, because I actually do see someone. I see Kumacha, who is very sweet and quiet. So if anyone did actually fall asleep, I have no fear of them waking up while watching Kuma. Is that a challenge? No. I think I remember a streamer saying streamers are not your friends or something like that. Yeah, a lot of streamers say that. Especially the bigger ones. I think with like smaller streamers, there's a bigger chance of becoming friends with them. Depending on the streamer, obviously. But still, you shouldn't hope for it, even with smaller streamers. But, yeah. If you become friends with a streamer, that's nice, you know? Like, be friends. Don't become friends with them just because they stream, obviously, but it's neat, but don't think you'll always become friends, you know? That's all. But I think most people know that. But to those who don't, and if they are hearing this message, make sure you're okay. Yeah. Alright. We can rate Kuma. They're playing Pikmin, which I really like, and Kuko pronounces Peakman, which I also really like. So, we can do that. Don't interact with people for the wrong reasons. Exactly. Okay, everyone. It is time. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. And tomorrow, I'll be with Doodle playing stuff. So feel free to stop by for that. Very comfy stream. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for stopping by. And we'll be romancing some monsters. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.